What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. Today it's Friday, very early in the morning, so I'm back with another episode review slash recap of The Mandalorian. This is Season 2, Episode 3, aka Chapter 11, The Heiress. Did I enjoy this episode? I'll give you my quick little thoughts. I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think it was a pretty big step up from last week's episode. The action in this episode was really well directed. New characters were introduced as well, so we'll go ahead and get into the recap. So this episode takes place right after the events of Episode 2, as the Mandalorian ship is kind of low on fuel and he's still transporting the frog slash toad character and Baby Yoda. They're asleep and then they wake up. They start to get pulled into a planet that they were headed to. The atmosphere, gravity kind of takes them in and they think they're going down. He says, "We'll make it if we're not a crisp." And they're going down fast and they end up landing. They get wet a little bit, and then he, pays about 1,000 credits to Amon Calamari so that he can get his ship fixed. The frog character finds their mate, and they're happy they are reunited finally. So that little arc wraps up very quickly early on in this episode. And then they go to a bar, the Mandalorian and the child. So they're eating at this restaurant slash bar. There's a little thing in the soup that Baby Yoda's eating. And then the Mandalorian asks the server, who looks just like Admiral Akbar, if you have seen anyone like my kind, aka any Mandalorians. And he says, "No, but I know this person might be able to help you with that." And it's another character who I don't know the name of off the top of my head, but they go over there and he says, "Yeah, I can take you there. Open passage is kind of a journey out in the open waters." So the Mandalorian and the child join him, and early on out there's some creature in the ship, then they're under a cage, and they're feeding it. And and Mandalorian's like, "Easy, not so close." And then the guy actually ends up hitting Baby Yoda's little crate thing into it, and it gets eaten by the thing. Mandalorian jumps in. They lock the Mandalorian under the cage, and they're trying to kill it so they can get the Beskar armor off him. And then a bunch of Mandalorians pull up and save the day. We don't really know who it is at first. They get the child out. He's safe, thankfully. I know, I was worried. And then they have this conversation. The Mandalorians that showed up actually end up taking their helmets off, and the main one is Bo-Katan, who I believe is one of the main characters from the show Star Wars Rebels. I've only seen a few episodes of the first season of that show, so I am not very familiar with it, but it was still really cool that there was a Rebels tie-in. I know that they are going to tie into Clone Wars. I'll get to that later. So I'm probably going to end up rewatching Clone Wars. I started that earlier this year, but I am definitely going to be watching Rebels because I want to know everything and feel like I'm in the loop on everything. So yeah, they have this quick little conversation. The Mandalorian says, "You take your helmets off, so are you really Mandalorians?" Bo-Katan is talking about how the children of the Watch are essentially religious zealots who broke away from the Mandalorian group and are trying to return to the ancient ways. So Mando and the child end up leaving from there, and then we see that the other Mandalorians blow up the ship they were all on. It's later that evening slash night, and the Mandalorian is approached by someone who says, "You killed my brother," and then the three Mandalorians actually show up and say, "No, I did," because they actually blew up the ship. Those Mandalorians end up saving the day, and then they're all sitting down to eat, and Mando is saying, "I'm trying to get this thing, the child, back to the Jedi. Do you know where they are?" Bo-Katan says, "Yes, I can help you, but I need your help doing a job first," which seems to be like the plot of like a lot of the Mandalorian, is he needs something or a piece of information, but he has to help someone to get it first. That seems to be where we're going with the show, and I'm not complaining. He is a bounty hunter, so that's part of the job, honestly. So what they're doing is they go to an Imperial ship, and they're supposed to hijack some kind of cargo off it that Bo-Katan really wants. One of the crew of the Mandalorian says it's a bunch of stormtroopers, but they couldn't hit the side of a bantha, so that's a really cool little line, kind of self-aware of the fact that stormtroopers' aim is atrocious. So they go to break into this ship. They're on there. They're basically killing everyone with ease. The guy who plays Bosch, I don't watch the show Bosch, but he's like the main Imperial officer of the ship. And then Bo-Katan says, "We're going to take the whole ship." And Mando says, "Wait, you're adjusting the terms of the deal? That wasn't part of the agreement." And then he ends up helping them out anyway. Or at least they're trying to take the bridge. And then Moff Gideon pops up on a little holograph to the main Imperial officer, and he says, "You know what to do. Long live the Empire," because they're going to lose the ship. They're trying to gain altitude to get away, to get to hyperspace back to the fleet. But ultimately, the Bosch guy, the main Imperial officer, kills the two pilots and ends up taking them directly out, straight down into the water is what he's trying to do to kill them all. Mandalorians and crew break into the bridge. They have him hostage. They save the ship at the last second, and the Imperial officer says, "You think that he'll let me die?" No, I don't think so. He takes like a tablet that looks like it like shocks him to death, honestly, kind of like cyanide. So Bo-Katan and then the other Mandalorians have control of the Imperial ship now with all the cargo on it. But before they went down, I remember Bo-Katan says, "Where's the Darksaber? Does Moff Gideon have it?" And the main Imperial officer says, "You would only ask that if you knew it to be true." Something along those lines. So she's after the Darksaber. There's a lot of seeds that are set up for later. But before the Mandalorian leaves, Bo-Katan says, and I quote, "Take the foundling to the city of Caladan on the forest planet of Corvus. There you will find Ahsoka Tano." Name drop, right? I mean, that's one of the main characters from the Clone Wars series, a beloved character. So I'm excited to finally see here. We got the news that she was cast before the season started, and I'm so excited to eventually see her. The episode ends with the Mandalorian retrieving the child from the frog people who he actually let stay with them during the episode. I forgot to mention that earlier. He sees that his ship wasn't really repaired that well, and he says, "Mon Calamari," because they're just some cheapos sometimes. He takes off, and they hit the hyperdrive. You could see like a piece of the ship kind of left behind after they hit the hyperdrive, and the episode goes away. We find out it was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, and that was that. It was only 30 minutes long. The credits were pretty long, so very quick episode, but it was filled with a lot of juicy information and details that are going to set up later parts of the season. So overall, I enjoyed this episode. I would say it's my second favorite of the season so far. A big step up from last week, but still not the best episode of the show or the season at all. It definitely is starting to hint more at the story and plot of the season, which is something that was lacking in the last episode. So it's nice that it's starting to play into the overall picture. We got a little snippet of Moff Gideon. The action is just so great. It continues to blow my mind, the amount of budget and detail put into these episodes, just from the first little scene alone where the ship drops out of the sky. Like, that is something that could be in a movie, and a lot of the production quality is like that, whether it's the stormtrooper shootout scenes on the cargo ship. There's some really great action moments there. It just looks so clean and so nice. It feels like original Star Wars, and the character of Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, is so compelling to me. There's still so much mystery behind him, and what's going to happen with the child? Is he going to get returned to Ahsoka? Is Ahsoka going to blow him off? Like, I'm so excited to see what happens. There's a lot of questions that are still going to be answered in the season, and I really did enjoy this episode. It's not a top-tier episode of the show, in my opinion. Maybe that could change after I let it sit a little longer, but it's still really solid TV, and The Mandalorian continues to impress. But I think that's going to do it for my quick little recap / review of episode 3 of season 2, aka chapter 11, The Heiress. What do you guys think of the episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Definitely hit the like button. And what is your favorite episode of the season so far? I know a lot of people will say the first episode. I'm in that camp as well. That first episode blew me away. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would mean the world. Every Friday, I have spoiler-filled thoughts on the new Mandalorian episodes, so those are a ton of fun. I do Blu-ray content, live streams, movie reviews, rankings, all that good stuff. And stay tuned for all that content and more coming soon. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.